Aloha, Mark Turansky from New Horizons, Hawaii. What are we doing? We're going through the principles of my book, kind of a flyby overview. The book is called Figure It, Face It, Fix It. This is a cognitive behavior therapeutic approach to addiction and recovery. We've been going through the various phrases. The first three were what we call truth phrases. Now we're on the declarative phrase, meaning I'm declaring this is what I'm going to do. Our last phrase was I'm declaring I'm going to learn to live in the moment. I'm declaring I'm going to be aware of my junkie mind and its schemes. This is what I'm going to do in order to preserve my benefits. On this phrase, it's I choose to accept temporary discomfort. It's the second declarative statement. I choose to accept temporary discomfort. What a profound phrase. You know, really, let's be honest, right? We don't like uncomfortable feelings. We don't like discomfort, and we don't want to accept it. And the best way to not accept it, if you and I have an addiction, is to dive into our addictive ways. As soon as I feel uncomfortable, as soon as I feel out of place, as soon as I feel any negative human emotion, I might turn to my drug of choice to feel that warm inebriation feeling so I don't have to accept the discomfort. But just like I was mentioning before in the last phrase, learning to live in the moment is accepting whatever the moment brings. And sometimes the moment brings discomfort. Will I choose to accept it? Well, in order to do that, I have to think about the discomfort in a different way. And there are two different concepts that I think are very helpful for us to be able to accept and be able to live and accept and feel good about the discomfort. Even though we may not like it or care for it, we can look at it or change the way we believe about it. Okay? The first way is by the life skill of delayed gratification. The life skill of delayed gratification. Now, you and I live in an instant gratification world, don't we? We have instant popcorn, we have high-speed internet. Back in the day, if you wanted to buy a couch like this one behind me, my grandfather would do something called saving in order to get it. Nobody has to save anymore. You got a credit card, you can go and buy it today. You don't even have to put any money down for a year. Everything's set up in our society today for instant gratification. But where success lies is in delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is that ability of delaying your reward and down the line. And this is a skill, this is a life skill that all of us need to develop. Now let's go back to drugs and alcohol, for instance, okay? Yeah, I drink a shot, do a line, smoke a bowl. Instantly, I feel good. Instantly, I get that buzz. What is that? Drugs and alcohol are the epitome of instant gratification. When we say no, and we're out partying with our friends, or we're out, and everybody's drinking or everybody's doing it, and I choose not to, maybe that evening I feel out of sorts, I feel out of place, but the next morning when I wake up without a hangover, oh my goodness, I'm so proud of myself. Oh my goodness, I dodged another bullet. Oh my goodness, my sobriety's still intact. This is a good thing. It's delayed gratification. The reward doesn't come sometimes until the next morning. But when it comes, it's always more profound. Delayed gratification results are always more profound than instant gratification. I can go out tonight and have fast food, right? Stop at my local fast food restaurant and enjoy an instant meal. But as soon as I walk out of there, I go, oh man, I shouldn't have eaten that, right? I could go home and spend a couple hours making a gourmet meal, and then when I eat it, it feels fresh. It doesn't sit heavy on my stomach. One is instant gratification, the one is delayed gratification. And that's what recovery is all about, is learning the life skill of delayed gratification. And when I start looking at that way, then I can start looking down the corridor of time and making decisions that will make me happier in the long run. But it is a life skill that I need to develop. The second life skill that comes with this particular phrase, I choose to accept temporary discomfort, is one that I think is very helpful for reframing a situation. This is the life skill of reframing. Reframing is just how we look at it. It's just offering a different perspective, right? In our society, we use different euphemisms like, is the glass half empty or is it glass full? The light at the end of the tunnel. The cloud that has a silver lining, right? All of these are ways of looking at the bright side, right? They're taking something and choosing to not look at it in a negative light, but to look at it in a positive light. That's what's called reframing. And so, for instance, if I look at my If I look at my stopping using my drug of choice, oh, this is terrible, it's awful, it's terrible, it's horrible and horrendous. And that's the frame I put around it. Notice those negative words. It's awful and terrible and horrible and horrendous. Well, guess what? That's my choice for recovery. If that's how I feel about it, I'm not going to stick with that choice for very long. But if I put a different frame, a positive frame, that this is lovely, I'm getting my benefits, I'm enjoying my life, I feel confident, I feel more healthy. When I put a different frame around it, it's the same thing, I'm stopping, but the frame determines how I feel about that recovery choice. And if I feel positive about it, I'm much more likely to hang with it with longevity in the long run. And that's what we need to do. We need to learn to reframe everything in life. And so when those negative things come, it doesn't just have to be an urge or a craving, although it could be that. I could look at my urge and look at it as a badge of honor. As long as I'm experiencing the urge, guess what? I'm not using. Because we all know as soon as we use, the urge goes away. And as soon as I use, I'm also back into my addiction. I've also relapsed. And so if I'm experiencing that urge, what that means is I'm not using. So now all of a sudden I've reframed the urge. It becomes a badge of honor for me. That's one way of looking at your urge and reframing it in the positive. And you and I can do this with any aspect of life. As soon as something negative, instead of running out to our drug of choice in order to inebriate that away, in order to numb that out, what we do is we learn to reframe it and look at the different aspects of it. Maybe it's something that will make me better. Maybe it's a different opportunity. When this door's closed, something else opens. It's always a different way of reframing it that allows me to not only intellectually accept what's going on, but more importantly, emotionally accept what's going on. And so this is all involved in choosing to accept temporary discomfort. Why should I? In order to get my benefits, which is the prize. And that is our next concept that we'll be hitting. Before we do our phrases together. Do them with me. Would you mind? Okay, let's try it together. I want to use, I can use, however, once and it's over. So in this moment, I choose to accept temporary discomfort. Why? So I can get my benefits, which is our next chapter. Stay tuned.